Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Tynetta Irene from Sting Beauty, and today I'm going to show you how I took my client's nails from that to these cute snake print ombre nails. Today we're doing a colored acrylic change. So the first step I'm going to do is go ahead and remove that old colored acrylic product. And as you can see, she broke the pinky nail, so we're going to just put a new tip on that one. When I do a color acrylic change, I use an extra coarse carbide bit, and I like to have it up at a pretty high speed, usually between 20 and 25,000 RPMs. And this is just so I can cut through that product quickly and efficiently without it taking too long. So I'm going to, like I said, remove the bulk of the acrylic product, which is the thickness, and also the color all the way as far down as I can without making the nail too thin. Now on this middle finger, she put some glue down, so it looks like I'm going over her nail bed with the carbide bit, but I'm not. There's glue there. And honestly, I really hate when my clients do that because it's so hard to get the glue off, and to me it causes more lifting anyway because it just seems like you can never get the glue off. But whatever, people still gonna be going their nails down, so just gotta deal with it. But yeah, like I said, just removing the product. And once I get the product removed, I am gonna see if there's any lifting, and at that point then, like right here, I just go ahead and remove the lifting. Once I have all the colored acrylic removed, I'm going to go ahead and prep her natural nails. So I'm using a medium grit sanding band. It's about a 150 grit sanding band, and I'm going at a slow speed of 5,000 RPMs. And you can see here what I'm doing is still trying to remove the glue off her finger. There's still some glue on there. So it might look like I'm going over her natural nail a lot, but I'm just trying to get all that glue off. So let's see. So yep, prepping a natural nail, just making sure to have a light touch. You don't want to press in hard and cause any indents in their nail. But you do want to make sure you remove the oil and the shine from the surface of the nail plate. More glue. And this thumbnail got kind of messed up, the shape did. So I ended up just cutting that off and putting a new tip on there because I just didn't like the way that this was looking. So once everything is prepped, I'm going to just reshape the tips so that when I apply the acrylic, I don't have to do a whole bunch of excess filing at the end of the service. So basically, this is kind of the same step as if I just did a new set and you glue the tips on, and then you're going to go in and refine the shape. So just refining the shape of the tips. And doing this before you apply the acrylic just makes everything a lot easier at the end of the service. After I get everything prepped and reshaped, I removed all the dust from her nails with a nail cleanser, and now I'm applying her primer. Usually I use Young Nails Protein Bond, but on my clients who I notice that they have an extra amount of lifting, I'll go ahead and use No Lift Nails Primer, just because this one is a little bit stronger. And hopefully we can see if this can get rid of her lifting issues. So I just apply one coat of that directly to the natural nail plate, and this one can kind of sting a little bit, so you want to make sure you don't get it onto their skin. So moving on to acrylic application. As you saw in the beginning of the video, we're doing a snake print on the tip of the nails, and it's going to be an ombre color. So for me, underneath the foils, I always like to put a similar color, just so if the foil doesn't stick completely everywhere, you can't really see. And on the middle finger, we're doing the full bling nail, so I just put a clear base down so I can apply the glitter to that nail. And like I was saying, whenever you do foils, I just think it's a good idea to put a similar color underneath, whether that's acrylic or gel polish. And that will just help with any gaps from the foil sticking, and it'll show through as, you know, this brown color instead of the white color on the tips. And it'll help those gaps from being so visible. Because we all know sometimes foil can be a little bit tricky and it's not perfect, but there's little things that we could do to make that less noticeable. I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other hand. On this hand, the bling nail is on the pinky finger, so I'm not applying the brown on that one. I'm just going to go in with the clear base on the natural nail. And then on the rest of the fingers, I'm going to apply this brown color just to the tips of the nails. Now that the acrylic on the first hand has dried, I'm going to apply this foil gel. This is basically a glue for the foils that we're going to be using. So I'm applying this directly over the acrylic. I didn't do anything besides let it dry. And then I'm going to place her hand in the gel lamp for about 60 seconds. And while that's in there, I'm going to just apply the glitter on her pinky nail really quickly. Whenever I do a full bling nail, I like to apply glitter underneath so that if there's any gaps between the stones, you'll see the silver glitter instead of like a nude acrylic or something like that. And it just helps it to look better to me. It looks more blingy. So then I'm going to just go ahead and apply the same foil glue gel onto the brown tips on this hand. And then I'm going to place this hand in the lamp for 60 seconds as well. And now that that first hand is done, I'm just going to take this snake print foil, and I got this off Amazon, and literally just press it down to the area that we applied the foil gel glue. And just rub it to make sure that everything is stuck down. And I'm going to do this on all of the tips that we applied the brown on. And sorry, I got out of the frame a little bit here. So yeah, just rubbing that in. And as you can see, it sticks pretty good. You should be able to see it better on the other hand though. So I cut another piece of the foil, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did on this hand. So basically just apply it, press it, and rub it, and it's that simple. And if you were to do this on the top of the acrylic without like doing an ombre over it or anything, all you would do is just go ahead, do the same steps, and apply your gel top coat over the foil. Now I'm just putting the glitter acrylic on the middle finger. This is going to be the other full bling nail. And you want to make sure you get as close to the cuticle area as possible without touching the skin and without getting any product on the skin. And make sure you keep everything nice and clean. And I'm going to encapsulate the glitter nails. And then I'm going to move on to doing the ombre. When I'm doing anything with glitter, I either like to do those nails first and clean out my dapping dish so that I don't get the glitter from the glitter acrylic onto the solid nails, or I'll do the glitter nails last, just like I said, so that I'm not messing with glitter and glitter is getting everywhere, all inside the other nails. For the ombre, I'm going to use Nude Panther from Not Polished, and I'm placing my first bead right behind where I want the fade to be. And once it comes to a nice medium consistency, I go ahead and fade that down the nail, and just making sure that everything is nice and clean, like I said, like I always say. And then I'm going to apply my cuticle bead. You don't want your cuticle bead to be too wet because it will run into the skin and you'll have a hard time keeping it off the skin. So I just like to make sure my cuticle bead is just a little bit dry. And here on the, what is this, the ring finger, this one was a little bit too big. As you can see, it started flowing further down the nail than I wanted it to. So I was just pushing the acrylic back towards the apex area just to build up the apex, as well as wiping it down the nail, just trying not to cover up too much of the snake print. And you can just do that on the rest of the nails, making sure that the fade is nice and smooth and that there's no harsh lines showing through the ombre. Once you get the ombre finished, you want to encapsulate the snake skin using the clear acrylic. And I'm just going to build up the rest of the nail with this clear acrylic. So if the apex from the cover pink wasn't enough, then I'll put a little bit more towards the top of the nail as well, and also building up the thickness of the tip. So as you can see, I always check my nails from the side view to make sure that the apex is there. And on this nail, like I was saying, I kind of applied a lot of cover pink, so the apex on this nail was already there. I didn't need to do that with the clear. When the clear acrylic dries, you want to make sure you reshape the nails. This is going to get rid of any imperfections that you got from laying the acrylic. You also want to make sure that all the nails are the same length and all the nails are the same shape. Just compare the nail that you're doing to the nail that you already shaped next to it. You don't want different length nails and you don't want different shaped nails. So just make sure you just comparing everything. Make sure everything looks even and identical. And then I flip their hands over. I do this to make sure that the tips are straight. Sometimes it's hard to see when their hand is like this, but when you flip it over, it's a little bit easier to see if everything is nice and straight. So my next step is just smoothing over the surface of the nail. And if anything on the nail is lumpy or too thick, this is where you want to go ahead and remove that. So I'm using a fine grit carbide bit, and I'm going at a speed of probably 14,000, and I'm just going over the surface of the nail, making sure everything is just as thin as I want it and as thick as I want it. Also going around the cuticle area to make sure that's nice and flush. I don't like the cuticle area to be thick, so that when their nails grow out, there's not a huge like ledge or lump right there. So just making sure the cuticle area is nice and thin. Making sure the whole nail is smooth and even. Once I do that, I'm going to go in with the same sanding band that I used to prep her nails. And I'm just going around the cuticle area one more time to make sure everything is nice and flush and make sure everything is even. And this is how I get to look like it just grew out of their cuticles, like just make everything perfect. And now I'm going to buff the nails, and this just removes any of the scratches that the electric file might have left. And buffing the nail also just helps everything look a lot more smooth and polished. So I'm just removing any of that dust. And when I flipped her hand over, I noticed that her natural nails were separating from the tips underneath. So I'm going to be using the cleanup bit from Sting Beauty. You can purchase this on my website. And this bit is the perfect size and shape just to get right underneath her nails and remove any of that natural nail that's lifting. So all I'm doing is going one direction, and I have it sped up to about 12,000 RPMs, and I'm just removing the natural nail. Brush the dust off so I can see, and then just do any adjustments that need to be done. So yeah, this is the cleanup bit from Sting Beauty. I love this bit because it was kind of always hard for me to find something that can actually fit. Sometimes, you know, I was using like a cone bit or something, but if their nails are too short, that doesn't fit. But this one will fit under short nails, long nails, whatever it is, and get out the lifted nail, or if there's any dirt or anything like that under there. So I do love this bit. It works great and it works really fast. This is actually not sped up, so you can see this probably took me like 15 or 20 seconds on each of her fingers, so it doesn't take long, but it definitely improves the longevity of her set, and it just looks better to me. So once I get all of her nails cleaned out underneath, then I'm going to have her wash her hands just to remove all the dust and everything so that we can move on to doing the crystals. When I'm doing a full bling nail, I like to start at the cuticle area and work my way towards the top of the nail. So I'm just applying different crystals, different size crystals, and filling in the gaps. The only plan that I really had was I did want to put some of the larger shape ones in the middle of the nail to kind of switch up the look of it from being just so plain with the circle stones. But after I put the large one down, I'm just filling in the spaces around it with different size crystals. The key to a good looking full bling nail is using different size crystals. You don't want to just use one type of crystal because that's not going to fit everywhere on a nail, and it can look a little bit spacey or a little bit awkward. But as you can see with the smaller crystals, I could fill in those spaces, and you can't tell that there's any spaces there, period. Also, if there are spaces, the glitter that I put underneath is covering those up, so you really can't tell. So I'm going to do something similar on the pinky finger, not the exact same, but something similar. Just filling in the gaps pretty much. Crystal placement is probably, if not my favorite, my second favorite part of doing nails. And I will have some crystals coming to stingbeauties.com soon. So be on the lookout for that here, probably like early next year, 2021. And here is the finished look. So these came out so perfect and so cute. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram for more content. And thanks for watching.